Hey you guys, this is Titan War Finals for October 2015. I did not upload the preliminary video, I just could not bring myself to do it. I do have some standard for what the quality of the video should look like, and I was really upset about how the game was playing. It was not a recording failure, it was just a game failure. The hide other objects button has been very frustrating, and you'll see a lot of that throughout this video toward the end, but at least in the beginning it's semi-tolerable. But at least for the most part you can sort of see the players and stuff, which is a vast improvement on what my preliminary video looked like. So here it's just Scoon, Shock, and myself. The fact that Ballwin is missing is very intentional on our part. It is not, oh, you know, Ballwin didn't show up or he fell asleep or something. He is he's intentionally not with us so that we won't take as much damage. You know, if we were in a situation that it was a fight to the death, then of course that we would want him in the mix, especially because Scoon and him revive each other. But actually those revives turn into a lot more damage taken for us against these very strong teams that we tend to go to timer with. So here, really it's a heal game, a survival game for us, Shock and myself, trying to deal some AoE damage, but overall really just trying to live and kill the kids and deal a little bit of damage to their teams. You know, this was just a barrage of wind damage, which I'm decently protected against, as well as the frigga damage, so water and wind. So my water, wind resistance are pretty good, dark and light are pretty good, and electro and fire are so-so, probably like 8k-ish. But here, really just trying to survive, get a stun there, but we're in very good shape. We hit the timer, we're both alive, and you know, we wiped out their kids and a lot of other stuff. There were still 4 of them at the end, so we were dealing a lot more with each AoE. So that was our strategy. Shock probably should take her kid off, but I think she just forgot in the beginning, and so she does eventually take her archer kid out of the team. Because so many of these went to timer, we had very little opportunity in between fights to do anything. So it took me quite a while. It took me until we lose a fight for me to change Panda's skills, because I didn't have Centauria or any heals on him other than the Delphic. So here up against Enchantress, she's, you know, Enchantress obviously the strongest of the bunch here, but looks like she has some very nice support, a Freya in the back, that's very intimidating, that can be definitely a problem. You know, a shield on a player like Enchantress is not something that we want to see. But for myself, you know, basic strategies, keep it super simple as far as survival strategy goes. You know, deal a little bit of AoE damage in the beginning, while I'm okay. Shock throws out a heal, you know, it does the Fury and everything. If I can get Panda to heal us with an AoE, get into Silph mode, put on my Guardian rune, heal the team, deal some damage, and that's the basic approach throughout this entire thing, and it actually works very well. So here, I don't know if Shock has actually died once yet or not, but she's getting back into Silph mode faster than I am, and so she's going to be dealing a nice bit of wind damage here, which helps us a lot. Definitely want to take out Enchantress's kid, even though I think in general we're already in very good shape. For group situations, I end up sitting out Thunder, even though Thunder is actually quite nice in some situations, especially if it's me, you know, 1 versus 1 against one of their top players. I would love to have Thunder in the mix, but instead I just bring Meteor and Bolt. Again, not able to fix up Panda's skills. And you know, and we're having a good laugh in chat. You know, Bun and I are on the call, and we try to incorporate our guild and especially Shock into things. And you know, when we're laughing about this stuff, obviously we're not laughing at the other players. It's not their fault that it's a ridiculous situation. We're laughing that we're so desperate, basically, because this is the only way that we can win. This is the only way we figured out to win, without, you know, obviously cashing up our tunes to a BR that is, you know, enough to take out these huge teams. So basically, I mean, we're just laughing about the situation. Obviously, the way that we're winning on these timer wins is an act of desperation on our part. It's definitely not an act of strength. So we're just having a good laugh, trying to play the survival game. And we do a pretty decent job of it. You know, obviously there are going to be some teams that are just going to overpower us. This current one doesn't have anybody who can quite, you know, take me out in one go. Crixus does have an Odin, but I don't think BR wise he's quite strong enough to really do anything to me with that Sylph. Hero, I think it might be the strongest, but he has a water Sylph on, and I'm pretty well protected against it. And I think he's also not doing great on HP or something with that water Sylph on. Beautiful Bod, who I think they must have rings or something together, because I feel like Beautiful Bod died at some point. But she obviously has some good support with the water Sylph and is a mage. Try to go for the kill, don't quite make it. That's a little bit of lag there, because obviously the timer looks like it's farther behind, but it did end, and that happens at least a couple of times during the evening. So here up against Lower TH, Asha, Audra, and Denahi. This is a very, very troublesome team. Denahi's a very strong archer, deals a lot of damage, and has that Frigga, so that's always bad news. Frigga, the ultimate support Sylph, and has enough AoE damage that they can be a big issue as well. And so yeah, the element spread that they have is very, very nice. It's a good job on their part as far as how they set themselves up. You know, I don't have a lot of fire or electro resistance, probably 8k or so, and so a couple of crystals and some dimensions, but nothing too crazy. Whereas I have really nice crystals, a few for water, wind, and light and dark, and so I'm more protected against those other 4 elements, and so the fire and especially the electro end up being a bit of an issue here. I get stunned, also not great, but get out of it pretty quickly. They also have a heal monkey mage, or TH mage with a water pet. There, Shock comes back and she immediately gets hit, which is sort of weird. That Electro Sylph just hit me hard, and then I deflected really, really badly. So that didn't help at all. Maybe I could have gotten to the heal rune if I didn't get deflected so badly. So here up against Queenie B's team. Queenie, definitely the strongest of the bunch, but still some pretty decent support. See some knights with shields, which is, you know, pretty nice at the beginning to have that support. And Queenie has some inspiration, and so that means she's going to be dealing big time damage. So I was a little bit concerned about this. You know, Queenie, whenever I see her in BG, she's usually on my team lately, and we'll chat, but before, when I would fight her a lot, she was always dealing so much damage, so I was very wary of that. She has that Odin on, so I was, you know, perfectly capable of you know, dealing a Delphic and wiping us out. Oh, and I didn't even see her say anything in chat at the time. I think I was so focused on making it to the skills and also keeping an eye on the hide other objects button that I wasn't even looking at that portion of the chat when we were fighting. Hide other objects button just driving me nuts. Here it's down to Queenie, which is good in some ways. It's easier for us to deal with, but at the same time very risky as far as, you know, if she gets some AoE damage out when it's us with more players, you know, 2 of us versus 1 of her, that could be bad. But that said, they have all the kids and everything, so we were dealing a lot of early damage, so it's hard for her to make up for. That stun did a ton of damage to Shock, so I'm glad that I'm taking most of the damage afterward. She gets a Guardian rune on, which is super safe on her part. Obviously, she wants to at least try to go to timer, even though were at the advantage. And there we get the win. I was just checking on Panda. And now I think finally Panda's skills are fixed up. I do have a level 6 Suntoria on Panda, which apparently heals for the same amount as level 5. So I don't know if I have to go to level 7 or level 8 in order to get a higher percentage for Suntoria, but that was sort of annoying. I wanted to try and make one advanced skill because I had a bunch of chests, and really for me the chests are terrible. So they have a bunch of B souls, and I have more B souls than I know what to do with, and so I wanted to trade for stuff. So I ended up trying some of that just for fun, and it turned out to not really work very well, but that's okay. Here up against my buddy Cypress, and then Darkhawk Mage, and all of them. I know these guys quite well, so they're all good friends. This is probably the worst that the hide other objects bugged, so I'm like stuck in self mode. I can't really do much, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. It's not a fight that we really had any chance of winning. These guys are buffed up. Look at all those inspirations. Everybody has inspiration on. Cypress, the strongest of the bunch, the strongest of the mages, I mean strongest of the knights right now, has level 7 inspiration. There's nothing we're doing against them. Really, it was theirs to win the moment that they decided to do that. So now up, Shock looks like she refreshed. That's why the formation is a little weird. Up against Kenshin, Conan, D, Fear, and Tyr. So very, very strong team as far as a good lay of strong players. Kenshin, I think, is quite handily the strongest of the four, followed up probably by maybe Tyr. Now, Tyr and Fear are both people who have been in Warlord's Hall for the mages multiple times, but I think Fear's fallen behind a bit. And I don't know if Tyr showed up to the last one. I don't think I remember seeing him, but anyway, they're pretty strong. Good enough support that Kenshin's not going to die very easily, and Conan is very strong as well. So I see a water pet, Kenshin obviously with his dark pet, which is pretty signature on his part, and we try and do our best. Shock with a wind sylph is very nice. Having that one steal just contributes very well. I would have liked to have another wind sylph, but Scoon's wind sylph is just terrible. The skills are all messed up, and so we have to wait things out until he has some more bound balins, and maybe we can fix it up to make it more PvP useful. Really, his wind sylph, it's strong, but it has no useful skills on it, which is a little bit frustrating, but we'll make it good. Scoon has some odd habits with the sylph skills, and so sometimes I just have to go tell him, this is what you gotta do. but his light sylph is actually set up quite nicely, so. There, Shock getting a heal toward the end. Make sure that we stay in things, but we are coming up on the timer and in pretty good shape. So get them. They still have 3 players going. I think we were going after Fear, trying to get that kill, but it didn't quite happen. Here up against Shady, Warbird, I Am Butt, and Strat. It's a little bit surprising to see Shady and Warbird paired up with I Am Butt, I think. Usually they're with Dawn, Key, and... well, I feel like I've seen them with Strat before as well, so I'm not totally sure. But anyway, it's not their typical team. Shay's a good buddy. He beat me in Class Wars this month, so obviously I want a little bit of revenge. But this is not the place I would usually get my revenge against Shay. Usually it would be I beat him in Class Wars and lose here. He has much stronger options in his server as far as teaming up with them. I just run with my buddies, and so BR wise we're obviously at a huge disadvantage. And here just a lot of damage. Shock taking huge damage, so that is not good at all. I'm gonna be losing my wife very soon. Oh, she's dead already. So I'm out of sylph mode, trying to get that heal rune. I need to last another 50 seconds against these guys. Just hoping for a stun. Don't stun anybody. Get into a heal. I don't even know why I go for an AoE. Why not just go straight for the Blessed Light? But I go for some damage. That's crazy. I should just be just a million things I could have done here. But anyway, so the timer, I guess mine is a little bit behind. Maybe that's lag or something. But we end up getting the timer victory, which I was totally just surprised. There's nothing about that fight that we should have won. So anyway, that was just a total fluke and just very funny. And Shay, PM me on Skype, and he was like, "Good one," but but honestly, I think it's pretty crazy that we won that fight. So yeah, totally just completely unjustified. Here up against Asher, and his group I think hasn't changed too much, but maybe after the server merge he picked up somebody a little bit stronger. Not totally sure there, but he was saying that his group has gotten a lot stronger, and so he has much stronger support, and I think that's very good for him. And so yeah, they were very tough. Surprising to see them with a bunch of Odins. Was not aware of that part. I was surprised to see those, and so I became a little bit more worried. Obviously, that might be part of the growth for his group that he was talking about. Asher with a water sylph. He and I are on similar pages as far as merging sylphs and things like that. I find Asher is probably the most kindred spirit for me as far as playing the game. Maybe well, actually, definitely I've cashed more than he has, but as far as how we think about the game and stuff, we have a similar sensibility. So both of us are not, we don't have merged sylphs yet, and we both apparently like to bring water sylphs to Titan War. Here, trying to give Shaka a little boost, but not much I can do, so it goes to me into Sylph mode, try and get a heal. I thought I was in good shape here, so I thought I was good to go. I had full health, and then just this barrage of Delphix gets me before the timer, literally like 5 seconds, and we would have won, I think. So that was a little bit surprising. Of course, I can't really complain. We're obviously supposed to lose that fight, so me, moaning about, oh, we didn't make it to timer, is sort of just silly. So they did a very nice job managing to beat us. Here up against L'Oreal, Onslaught, Artemis, and Hot One. This is a very, very strong team. I think maybe the biggest blowout for us. I'm trying to think if any of the other teams got us quite as quickly. Maybe, yeah. Denahi's group was pretty strong as well. But here, Hot One with that Odin is quite a bit of trouble. And the rest of the team quite strong. They do have one Electro Pet in the mix, and so that is no bueno for me. Definitely take a lot of damage there. I'm lucky that heal even went to me at all. I was chaosed. But that time, I do end up getting the Delphic on shock. And anyway, what a mess. We end up dying quite quickly. And now, it's up against our guildies. I'm just so happy to see these guys in Warlords Hall. They're a very deserving team as far as just sheer strength. Really just a great bunch of players, and very diligent, smart Wartune players. And so, they don't quite cash up to, Robin doesn't cash as much as myself. And BR wise, they're probably in total maybe like 500k behind my team. But overall, just a great bunch, and so I'm super happy to see them. That said, we lost to them in prelims on the timer, and so I was not having that. Definitely wanted to go for the kill, if not win on the timer against these guys, and we're out for blood in finals. We knew we were gonna face each other, obviously, with how Warlords Hall works for finals, and so I wanted to beat these guys. Midori has a water pet on, Mort has a fire pet on. I forgot what May has. Probably electro, or maybe a wind? I didn't catch the sylph. The darn hide other objects is just killing me. And then Robin with a wind sylph. I've seen Robin use a wind sylph in many situations. She likes it for class wars sometimes, and definitely here she likes to bring wind. I don't think she's brought water yet, but I think that's maybe because Midori brings water. Midori was Chaos when she was throwing the ice shield, the snowflake shield, and so I have that nice little buff. Definitely not from our team because my water pet doesn't have that skill on it. Here, going after Robin. Was hoping that would take her out, but not quite, and I get the stun on her. Was hoping Shock could take out Robin, but not quite. Oh, it was an illusion. That's the reason why she lived through that. But anyway, we win on timer, but we're very, very close to taking them out. And now Scoon signed on or something like that. Anyway, we lost Scoon and out of the mix, and so we're 2 versus 4 versus Lala's group. We're not feeling too fantastic about this, but of course, you know, now we definitely just need to live. I sort of, you know, once it comes to Lala's group, at least know what we're getting ourselves into. You're gonna see a big Odin. We're gonna see some wind sylphs. In this case, Scarface has a light sylph, which I think is I've seen that before with them, but I have seen 3 wind sylphs on the 3 non-Lala players before. Really, you know, even if you're expecting something, that doesn't really mean that you can do anything about it. So these wind sylphs are pretty tough to deal with. I'm, of course, just trying to defend. So I got the Guardian Rune, throw on E to heal Shock and myself, and then go after the AoE Delphic. Well, the only Delphic for a water sylph. So that does deal a good chunk of damage, but they have a lot of heal supports and stuff, so there's Scarface revives. And now I'm in mage mode right now, but it looks like I'm in sylph mode. But I do have the little Poseidon next to me, even though I look like I'm in Poseidon form. Their Scarface took away 100 of my rage, which seems like a bug or something, because I'm pretty sure that Steel should only take 50 of my rage, but who knows. Here, timer's coming up. We're looking like we're in pretty good shape. Got the heal coming, and don't quite take out Scarface, but Lala's, you know, well into the game, so really we just have a timer victory there. And now up against Zeke, Hit Order, Destiny, and Heart. Zeke for sure the strongest of the bunch. I think he's made it into Warlord's Hall for the mages recently, and looks to be making his way up. The Hide Other Objects button is just totally awful right now. Oh, Zeke has a red Goddess of Prosperity. Did not realize that. Or is that on somebody else? Oh, it's just too hard to tell right now. So here, you know, don't think there's anybody that can give me too many problems, so I definitely wanted to be aggressive. But still have to do the same spiel with the Guardian Rune. I think I go for an AoE now, though. Yeah. Scoon back in the mix, but of course, every time somebody comes back into the group, they start out in the front, so I end up having to change the formation and things. Looks like Scoon's dealing pretty nice damage with that light sylph. Odd a heal support over there. Of course, they got Zeke, Big Mage, but they have Heart with the water sylph as well. Now, even though Scoon's out, trying to take out Zeke real quick, do get an Ice Bolt on him, so that's big. And then Shock gets a stun. I was going for the stun too, obviously don't want him to do anything, don't want him to heal or whatever. He gets the Guardian Rune in. Still trying to get him. He goes for the steal, he gets it. And then we get him with a meteor. Just barely. Almost ran out of time. So at the moment we're in 5th. We need to win this fight, and I think somebody else needs to lose actually for us to get 4th. Now we're up against Poison Arrow, Vardoom, and Ice. They're missing, I think, who's the 4th? It starts with a B. I think he's a knight. It's not Bronze. Bronze is a mage. Well, they're missing somebody rather big, and helpful, and Poison Arrow there is saying, this is a mess. It is sort of, I think Titan War is always a bit of a mess. You always have the people who do catch the buffs, the people who don't, and then, you know, a bunch of people just trying to survive, like my team, so, it's sort of chaotic set of groups and goals. You know, there's often, you know, a team or two that are trying to rig the wager and get into 6th place, so they'll wager on themselves and then move around their wins in order to get 6th place. So when you have that in the mix, you know, anything can happen. And they're saying this is a waste of time. I don't know. I think entertainment value is okay. I would say that raging at this hide other objects button is maybe the reason not to participate. You're going after some AoE damage. These guys are really very good players, and before they've just really wiped the floor with us. So I am a little bit surprised every time they seem to underperform in Warlord's Hall. And when I say that, I mean they underperformed last time, and I think that was the first time they were in Warlord's Hall. So they didn't do as well as I thought they would this time around, but they're missing a player. And yeah, so I actually bet on them to get 6th. Didn't turn out that way, and so anyway. Oh, looks like somebody had a Loki, which you don't often see. And here's our last fight up against Rono, Ariel, and Card. Usually they also have, gosh, who's their 4th? Is it Nighthawk? Or is it Gruntar? I don't know, there's so many strong people on Kong 1. I'm gonna just pick one. But anyway, Rono with a Frigga, Ariel with a Wind Pet, and Card with Water. That's actually a nice mix. It looks like their dimensions or something that seem a little bit off, because they do take a lot of damage for people who are so strong. So I think it might be resistance or something. Of course, not helping the situation that we're wrapping up in a fight that we can't see. We do manage to get the victory. We take them out actually really quickly, which is why I suspect that it has something to do with resistances. But yeah, now we've got the whole team together, so Ballwin can join the room. He is part of the team. We just did not have him in the fights. And Dark Knight's team, so that's Cypress, and then all the players with Dark of some sort in their name took 1st place. So big congratulations to them. 14 wins. It seems like they had a timer loss to, I think, Asher's group. And then things go down from there. We get ahead of Lord TH's party in 4th place with 11 wins by BR. So that is our best performance. I'm not sure we're ever going to do better than this, especially since we don't go after the Balin buff. So we're just very pleased with how things worked out. But thanks for joining me, you guys. Take care and have a very good day.